3 years ago.
Yeah. Uncle Ned really was.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, 1 billion days ago.
2,739 and 726 years ago.
That's when Viagra was discovered, right?
Yes.
Right? Okay. So, Jen, you're good. Please write down on the board how much is $787 billion. Yeah, real big, because the guys in back are starting to get interested. Girl, do you have a boyfriend? Because I'm telling you what, you got to be bigger than this if you're going to impress the guys in the back row. Okay? 787 billion. Big, big. Can you read that?
Yes, you can.
No, they can't. Different color? Here, black. Try black. Black is beautiful. So that's how much? Put some commas in there. It's kind of like pauses to reflect. So that's $787 billion. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Wow. Big number. Have you ever written $787 billion before? You have? What the hell kind of checkbook you got, girl? Huh? So you're good in math. How many people are today U.S. citizens? Round figuring. What would you guess? There's more than 200, right? What would you guess? How many?
Billions, maybe?
Billions of Americans? You have no clue, right?
Millions, maybe?
Do you know how many people are on planet Earth today?
No.
6.5 billion people, round figuring, on planet Earth today. There's a little bit more than 300 million Americans. So there's $787 billion. How much is that for every man, woman, and child in America? A lot? That means you don't want to do the math, right? Will you let me do the math?
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much. Torture's over. $787 billion is enough money to give every man, woman, and child on earth $116. You really got to work on your baseball. Do you like the Royals or Major League Baseball? You prefer Major League Baseball? $787 billion is enough to give every person on the planet $116. It's enough money to make everyone in the state of Kansas under 19 a millionaire. How many of you are under 19? Not 19, under 19. Ha! You don't get the $1 million because you're not under 19. You could make every Kansas household. This would be better. Hun, how much is in the checkbook? I'd like to go buy a new shotgun. Well, we have $645,000 that showed up the other day. Would that cover it? I said, well, it's a start, right? Gosh, it'd be fun to do the checkbook that month, right? Heat, electricity, utilities, $645,000. Woohoo! You could buy every B301 student a $3 beer at the wheel every minute of your life for the next 1,500 years. Now, this is an appealing concept because you're 19 and never going to die. So this is going to cover most of your lifespan. It's a good deal. There is no bailout amount that is too much. If a politician gets cooking, there's no spending that's too frivolous or too ridiculous. No amount of inefficiency and waste is stupid. Do you know GM, Ford, and Chrysler not only make cars that we don't want to drive, they pay labor to do nothing. How would you like to get paid full-time work, and I'm not making this up, to sit in a room and play cards with your buds? That'd be good. You could sign up for that. They, honest to God, had a policy of never laying anybody off because they were producing cars that no one wanted to buy. So the workers would be called in every day and they go play cards. It's better to have too big of a bailout than too little of a bailout. Because you can always cut back, right? This is what you call a triumph of hope over experience. Now, you've done a little study of economics, right? And you have this mistaken impression that regulation is imposed on industry by well-intentioned bureaucrats to make the economy work better for the average man. That's what you think. And the reason you regulate is because monopolies are evil. Every monopoly out there is evilly created by this force that we must restrain on behalf of the common man. Kind of hard to find these guys because, you know, the closest to a monopoly you can find out there would be like Intel with microprocessors, and they kick the living pea jeebers out of all the competition around the world on a regular basis. Microsoft does the same thing. And so why do we have an ag department? Why is there a U.S. Department of Agriculture at all? It has nothing to do with a few monopoly producers who have to be restrained on the benefit of the masses. There's so many producers and so many buyers. You don't have any economic justification for an ag department. It's political. In the United States, we have 2 senators from every state, and that makes the senators from Iowa and South Dakota and North Dakota extremely powerful relative to the 0.7% of the population that's on the farm. And we spend hundreds of millions of dollars subsidizing farmers who make enormous sums of money. You can't even restrict. You talk about taxing people that are these people over 250. They're not even willing to restrict subsidies to farmers that make over $500,000 a year in subsidy payments. There is this bailout stuff. It's not temporary. Nothing the government does is ever temporary in terms of grabbing power. This is the beginning. This is not the end. This is the chapter 1 start. So what's the problem, Professor Hirschey? Well, you know, if you've got a tough argument, people sometimes like to make it complicated. This is not complicated. When the government spends money, it gets it from 3 different places. Number 1, you can tax it, you can print it, or you can borrow it. Now remember I said 1 plus 1 has an expected value of 2? When the government injects liquidity into the system, you should use the word cash. So you've got 2 piles out there. This is stuff that the economy creates. The government doesn't create anything. Workers like you in the private sector are creating goods and services. About 80% of the stuff consumers want is stuff you can neither see, feel, taste, or touch. It's services. The amount of goods and services is not growing. The claims on those goods and services is growing. What happens when you translate between the two is what you call prices. And if you get lots more claims and the same amount of stuff, prices go up.